Philippines, which was officially released by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas (BSP) in December 2011 and fully circulated in the years following, including 2013. This series replaced the BSP coin series, issued from 1995 to 2017 for some denominations, with a modern, unified design that incorporated updated security features, lighter weight metals, and themes that showcase the country's rich history and natural heritage. Before 2011, the BSP noticed that the smaller denominations, especially centavo coins, were underused or often hoarded and melted for scrap because of rising metal prices. The new series aimed to reduce production costs by using cheaper metal alloys, modernize the national currency design, and promote national symbols. By 2013, the NGC coins were in full production, including the 10 Sentimo, which had a fresh look compared to previous decades. Issues. The 10 Sentimo 2013 coin featured a minimalist yet symbolic design. The denomination 10 Sentimo prominently displayed the official seal of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, updated in 2010 to a modern look. Smooth edges, unlike earlier reeded designs of past coins. To make the coin cost-effective, the BSP used nickel-plated steel for the 10 Sentimo. This metal was durable, rust-resistant, and less expensive than the copper-based alloys of older coins. The coin had a small diameter, around 17 millimeters, and was very lightweight, making it the smallest denomination in the NGC series. 2013, inflation had significantly reduced the purchasing power of the 10 Sentimo coin. It was primarily used for exact change in supermarkets, public transportation fare adjustments, and utility bill payments. Despite its limited buying power, the coin remained essential for accounting purposes and was legally required to be accepted as part of exact payments. The inclusion of the Kappa plant was part of the BSP's initiative to highlight native flora on lower denomination coins. This plant is known for its striking pink bracts and flowers, symbolizing beauty and natural pride. It also reflected the Philippines' commitment to biodiversity preservation, as the coin series featured native plants on smaller denominations and native fauna on higher coins. The year 2013 was significant for the BSP because it was in the early stages of completely transitioning to the NGC coin series. During this time, the mint faced challenges in public education about the new designs, as many Filipinos initially found the new coins too similar in color and size. While the 2013 10 Sentimo is not rare in circulated condition, uncirculated and proof-like specimens are sought by collectors. These coins have value mainly for numismatic completeness, especially for those building full-year sets of the NGC series. Certain era coins from 2013, such as the Philippines was under the administration of President Ferdinand Marcos, who had declared martial law in 1970 and maintained a strong influence over national policies, including currency design. The BSP Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas was still known as the Central Bank of the Philippines, and the country was in the midst of economic shifts marked by industrialization efforts, infrastructure projects, and foreign loans. This period also fell within the era of the Bagong Lipunan, the New Society movement, which aimed to promote nationalism, discipline, and economic reform. Coins from this period often reflected a sense of national pride and featured significant historical figures. 19805 Sentimo coin belonged to the Flora and Fauna series, which ran from 1975 to 1983. This series was introduced to replace earlier coin designs from the Filipino and English series, shifting to a more modern look while showcasing Philippine heritage. The obverse featured a portrait of Juan Luna y Novicio, one of the most celebrated Filipino painters and a revolutionary hero. His most famous work, Spoliarium, won a gold medal at the 1880 for Exposición Nacional de Bellas Artes in Madrid and became a symbol of Filipino nationalism. The name Juan Luna appears along the edge, with the coin's denomination, 25 Sentimo, and the mint year, 1980. The reverse depicted the official seal of the Central Bank of the Philippines, surrounded by the inscription, Republica ng Pilipinas. This was a standard design element in Philippine coins of the time to emphasize national identity and official government authority. 19805 Sentimo coin had a modest face value but was a common and practical denomination for everyday purchases during the early 1980s. Mint location. Most coins were struck by the Royal Mint in the UK and by international mints under BSP contract, as local minting capacity was still limited during the 1980 S. 1980, 25. Sentimo could purchase small snacks, jeepney fare supplements, or basic items in a sari-sari store. It was a valuable coin for daily transactions and often circulated widely. Because of this heavy use, finding a 1980-5 Sentimo coin in uncirculated condition today is more difficult. Collectors value the 1980 25 Sentimo not because of its intrinsic metal worth, but for its representation of a historical period of political significance in the Philippines. The tribute to Juan Luna, an enduring symbol of Filipino artistry and patriotism. Uncirculated or proof versions can fetch higher prices among collectors, particularly if they are part of a complete flora and fauna set. The mid-1980s, inflation gradually eroded the purchasing power of small denomination coins, and the 25 Sentimo became less significant in everyday transactions. In 1983, the central bank introduced a new coin series, phasing out older flora and fauna coins. This makes the 1980 issue one of the later. Madeira coin 1990 belongs to the Flora and Fauna Series of Philippine coins, which was introduced by the Central Bank of the Philippines Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or BSP in 1983. This series replaced the earlier ng Bagong Lipunan ABL coin series, and it was part of a broader effort to modernize the nation's currency, improve durability, and honor both national heroes and the natural treasures of the Philippines. The late 1980s, the Philippine economy was emerging from a politically turbulent era. Inflation during the 1970s and 1980s had gradually reduced the purchasing power of the Piso, making coins of higher denominations more important in everyday transactions. The 1 Piso coin was especially vital because it was the backbone of daily, small transactions, jeepney fares, market purchases, and school snacks. The 1 Piso 1990 coin was for heavy circulation. Portrait of José Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines, writer, reformist, and inspiration for the Philippine Revolution against Spanish rule. Image of the Philippine coconut palm cocos. Musifera, a crop deeply tied to the nation's agriculture and economy. Denomination 1 Piso. Prominently displayed. José Rizal, 1861 to 1896, symbolizes peaceful reform, education, and patriotism. Unlike revolutionaries who took up arms, Rizal fought with his pen, producing works like Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, which awakened national consciousness. His presence on the 1 Piso coin reflected the importance of moral leadership and intellect in shaping the nation. The coconut tree, nicknamed the Tree of Life in the Philippines, represents resilience, livelihood, and abundance. It's one of the country's top agricultural exports and a staple in rural life. By featuring it on the coin, the BSP acknowledged its role in sustaining millions of Filipino families. 1990. The Philippines was under the presidency of Corazon Aquino. The BSP was working to keep coin production steady amid inflation pressures. That year's 1 Piso coins were minted in large numbers to meet high circulation demand, as the peso's value meant that coins were essential for small-scale transactions. The 1990 1 Piso coin was everywhere, from sari-sari stores to bus fares. Its moderate size and clear markings made it easy to recognize. It remained in active use until the introduction of the new BSP coin series in 1995, which gave the 1 Piso a smaller, different design. Since millions were minted in 1990, most are common today in circulated condition. However, uncirculated coins with sharp details, mirror-like surfaces, or factory mint luster are valued more by collectors. Rare mint errors, such as off-center strikes or coins missing plating, can fetch higher prices. The 1 Piso 1990 coin is a nostalgic piece for many Filipinos who grew up in the late 80s and early 90s, though this series replaced the earlier ng Bagong Lipunan series and aimed to modernize Philippine coinage while promoting the country's rich biodiversity and national heroes. The 1 Piso denomination, in particular, honored José Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines, and featured native fauna. The year 2000 issue came at a time when the Philippines was undergoing economic recovery from the late 1990s Asian financial crisis. Coin production during this year was part of a continuing push to keep small denomination currency in circulation. Even though inflation was making smaller coins less useful for daily transactions, the portrait of Rizal used in the Flora and Fauna Series coins is sleek and minimalistic compared to earlier designs, giving it a modern look for the late 20th century. The Philippine coconut palm cocos, Musifera, chosen, as it is one of the country's most important agricultural products. often called the Tree of Life for its many uses. The seal of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas introduced in 1993, symbolizing the country's monetary authority. The plant depiction is detailed, showing the palm tree with a cluster of coconuts, highlighting its significance to Philippine livelihood and exports. Composition: copper-nickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, chosen for durability and resistance to corrosion. This metal composition gave the coin a silvery appearance, making it distinct from brass-colored lower denominations. 1 Piso 2000 was minted in large numbers to meet everyday cash transaction needs. It was widely used in public transport fares, market shopping, and small retail purchases. Despite its wide circulation, coins from this year that remain in uncirculated condition are less common today, making them interesting to collectors. The year 2000, the Philippine peso was undergoing gradual depreciation, with the exchange rate at about Philippine peso 40, Philippine peso 45 to the US dollar. Despite this, the 1 peso coin still retained reasonable purchasing power, enough to buy candy, small snacks, or contribute toward bus fare. Today, however, the coin's buying power has diminished significantly due to inflation. For coin collectors, the 1 Piso 2000 holds appeal for several reasons. End-of-century era coinage being from the turn of the millennium adds a symbolic historical value. Flora and Fauna Series popularity: many collectors aim to complete the full set of this series, and the year 2000 issue is a must-have. Condition: rarity. While circulated examples are common, finding a brilliant uncirculated coin is far harder. The Flora and Fauna series continued until 2003, when it was replaced by the BSP series, also known as the New Generation. Coins at that time which removed plant imagery in favor of a more modern, simplified look. This makes the 1 Piso 2000 part of the during this time. The Central Bank of the Philippines was modernizing the nation's currency system to reflect national pride, historical heroes, and modernization. The 1 Piso coin of 1974 was part of the Bagong Lipunan ABL series, which was introduced starting in 1975, but some coins bearing earlier years like 1974 were struck as part of the transitional phase. This series symbolized Marcos' vision of a new society during martial law. Features the portrait of José Rizal, the Philippine national hero, whose writings and martyrdom played a key role in the country's independence movement against Spain. The inscription around the portrait reads, Republica ng Pilipinas, Republic of the Philippines. The denomination 1 Piso is placed prominently. The year 1974 is struck below. Displays the coat of arms of the Philippines, symbolizing sovereignty and independence, inscribed with Central Bank of the Philippines in Filipino, along with the national motto, Isang Bansa Isang Diwa, One Nation One Spirit. Composition and specifications: metal, copper nickel, weight around 14 grams, diameter 38 millimeters, large crown-sized coin, quite hefty compared to modern pesos. This large-sized piso was meant to emphasize the importance of the currency during the 1970s. Circulation and significance: the 1 Piso 1974 was heavily used in circulation, especially for larger purchases. Because of its size and weight, it was not always convenient for daily use, which eventually led to the downsizing of Piso coins in later years. The coin also marked a strong political statement under Marcos, as currency redesign was tied to the new society program. Common circulation strikes of the 1970 for 1 Piso are not rare and are usually worth only their face value or a small premium to collectors. However, uncirculated mint state examples, especially proof-like strikes, can fetch higher value. Coins with historical context, like those preserved during martial law, or with unique minting errors, are more desirable among collectors. In short, the 1970 for 1 Piso coin is not just money, but also a historical artifact representing the Philippines during a politically charged era. It features José Rizal as the enduring symbol of nationalism, while also embodying the Marcos. Belongs to the Flora and Fauna series, a coinage set that the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas (BSP) introduced in 1983 to replace the older Bagong Lipunan ABL series. This series was notable because, for the first time in Philippine coinage, native plants and animals were prominently featured on circulating coins, symbolizing the country's biodiversity and natural heritage. The coin's obverse side features the portrait of Juan Luna, one of the Philippines' greatest 19th-century Filipino painters and national heroes. Luna is best remembered for his masterpiece Spoliarium, which won the gold medal at the 1884 Madrid Exposition. His inclusion on the coin represented Filipino artistic achievement and patriotism. The reverse side showcases the Pithecophagogephyri, more famously known as the Philippine eagle or Haribon, king of birds. This bird, found only in the Philippines, is one of the largest and rarest eagles in the world, symbolizing strength and the importance of environmental preservation. Metal composition and specifications. The 1995 25 Sentimo was minted from copper nickel, giving it a silver-like color with durability suited for daily transactions. The mid-1990s, the Philippines was experiencing economic growth under President Fidel V. Ramos, with improved infrastructure and trade liberalization. However, the 25 Sentimo coin's value in real purchasing power had already diminished compared to earlier decades, mainly due to inflation. While in the 1980s a 25 Sentimo coin could buy small candies or local jeepney fare increments, by 1995 it was mostly used for change in markets, small toll adjustments, or school canteen purchases. Transition and end of the series. The Flora and Fauna Series remained in circulation until it was replaced by the BSP coin series in 1995 to 1998. Interestingly, the 1995 25 Sentimo was among the last years this design was produced before the introduction of the new smaller brass-colored 25 Sentimo coin in 1995-1996. Collectability and value today. The 1995 25 Sentimo coin is common in mintage numbers, but it has sentimental and historical value for collectors who specialize in complete Philippine coin series. Uncirculated or mint-condition pieces can fetch higher prices among numismatists, especially if they are part of a complete flora and fauna set. Coins with minting errors such as misaligned strikes, off-center designs, or double dies can be significantly more valuable. The coin is more than just a monetary piece, it's a reminder. The Philippines' rich artistic history. Juan Luna. The need for wildlife conservation. Philippine eagle. The evolved belongs to the Bagong Lipunan ABL series, which was issued during the presidency of Ferdinand E. Marcos. The ABL series started in 1975 as part of a political and economic reform program following the declaration of martial law in 1972. These coins were intended not only as currency but also as symbols of the new society vision that Marcos promoted. The ABL coins were distinctive because they bore the inscription Bagong Lipunan on the obverse side, meaning the new society in Filipino. This inscription reflected the government's attempt to emphasize modernization, discipline, and national identity. The 19852 Piso coin features a left-facing portrait of Andrés Bonifacio, one of the key figures in the Philippine Revolution against Spain in 1896 and the founder of the Katipunan. Around the portrait is the inscription, Republica ng Pilipinas, the denomination to Piso, the year of minting 1985, the slogan ng Bagong Lipunan. Reverse displays the seal of the Central Bank of the Philippines, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, as used from 1978 to 1993, surrounded by decorative elements. The seal symbolizes economic stability, trade, and monetary policy during that era. Its large size and heavy weight gave it a distinctive feel compared to other coins in circulation. The 2 Piso denomination was relatively high value in 1985. During that period, 2 pesos could purchase small meals, multiple jeepney rides, or several goods at public markets. However, the Philippine economy was struggling with high inflation, foreign debt, and political unrest during the final years of the Marcos regime, which affected the real purchasing power of the coin. Political symbolism. As part of the Bagong Lipunan series, the coin was a constant reminder of Marcos's political branding and the era's propaganda. National identity, featuring Andrés Bonifacio, placed emphasis on the revolutionary spirit and independence, appealing to patriotic sentiment. The 1985 issue was among the last in the ABL series. After the People Power Revolution of 1986 and the fall of Marcos, coins with the Bagong Lipunan inscription were gradually phased out in favor of new designs under President Corazon Aquino. The 1985 Piso coin is popular among collectors of modern Philippine coins, especially those interested in the martial law era. Circulated examples are fairly common but can still fetch Philippine peso 50, Philippine peso 150 depending on condition. Uncirculated or mint condition pieces can be worth Philippine peso 300, Philippine peso 600 or more, particularly if kept in original mint packaging. Proof or specimen strikes 5 is part of the new BSP coin series, a currency series introduced by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas in 2000 and used until it was replaced by the new generation currency coin series in 2018. This coin was born out of the need for a higher denomination in circulation, mainly due to inflation and increased consumer spending during the late 1990s and early 2000s. The year 2000, the highest denomination Philippine coin was the 5 piso. However, due to rising prices, the BSP realized that a higher value coin was needed for everyday transactions. The 10 piso banknote, which had been in circulation for decades, was wearing out too quickly, costing the government more money to replace. Coins, being more durable, were the logical solution. Thus, the bimetallic 10 piso coin was introduced in 2000, and by 2005, it had become one of the most familiar coins in the country. The 2005 version maintained the same design elements as earlier issues but carried a different mint year. Displays the portraits of Apolinario Mabini and Andres Bonifacio, two of the most respected figures in Philippine history. Andres Bonifacio, founder of the Katipunan Revolutionary Society, which fought for independence from Spain. Apolinario Mabini, known as the brains of the revolution, he served as the first prime minister and foreign minister of the First Philippine Republic. The pairing of Bonifacio and Mabini on one coin is symbolic. They represent two sides of the Philippine struggle for independence. Bonifacio represents revolutionary action and the fight on the battlefield. Mabini represents wisdom, diplomacy, and governance. The inclusion of both leaders emphasizes the idea that the fight for freedom requires both courage and intellect. The 2005 issue came at a time when the Philippine economy was stabilizing after the Asian financial crisis of 1997. The BSP increased coin production to meet growing demand, especially for high-value coins that could last 10 to 15 years in circulation compared to paper notes, which only last around 1 to 2 years. 2005, the coin had already gained widespread public acceptance, and its distinct bimetallic design made it harder to counterfeit, an important factor since the 10 piso was among the most targeted denominations for fakes in the early 2000s. Most 2005 10 piso coins were mass-produced for circulation, making them common in everyday use. However, collectors still value coins in uncirculated mint condition, especially those with strong details and no wear. Some varieties, like off-center strikes or misaligned inner cores, are considered rare mint errors and can fetch holds a significant place in the evolution of Philippine coinage, representing not just a medium of exchange but also a snapshot of the country's political and economic climate in the early 1980s. This coin was part of the Flora and Fauna Series, which was introduced in 1983 by the Central Bank of the Philippines, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, to replace the Bagong Lipunan, a BL series that had been circulating since the mid-1970s. During this period, the Philippine government was moving away from the imagery and slogans of the martial law era, shifting toward designs that celebrated the nation's cultural and natural heritage. The Flora and Fauna Series was the perfect embodiment of this vision. Rather than showing political leaders on every denomination, the series highlighted Philippine national heroes on the obverse and native plants or animals on the reverse, symbolizing unity, national pride, and environmental richness. The 198350 Sentimo coin specifically featured Marcela Maricoa Gonchillo on the obverse. She is famously known as the principal seamstress of the first official Philippine flag, alongside her daughter Lorenza and Delfina Herbosa de Natividad. By placing her image on the coin, the government paid tribute to the often overlooked contributions of women in the struggle for independence. Her determined look on the coin is a reminder of the sacrifices made during the revolution against Spain in the late 19th century. The reverse side depicted a stylized wailing Vanda sanderiana, a rare and beautiful orchid species, endemic to the Philippines, especially in Mindanao. Known as the Queen of Philippine Orchids, the wailing symbolizes beauty, rarity, and national pride. Its inclusion on the coin highlighted the country's rich biodiversity and its need for preservation, at a time when environmental awareness was beginning to take root in policy discussions. Minted in copper nickel, the coin measured 24 millimeters in diameter and had a smooth edge, making it easy to distinguish by feel from smaller denominations. The choice of copper-nickel was due to its durability and resistance to corrosion, important qualities in tropical climates like the Philippines. The coin bore the year 1983 at the bottom, marking its inaugural issue within the Flora and Fauna Series. The early 1980s were a turbulent time for the Philippine economy, marked by political unrest, rising debt, and economic slowdown. Despite these challenges, the Bangko Sentral and Pilipinas pushed forward with modernizing coin designs and improving minting standards. The Flora and Fauna Series was a symbol of continuity and resilience, aiming to instill national pride despite hardships. The 1983 50 Sentimo circulated widely in markets, jeepney fairs, sari-sari stores, and everyday commerce. At the time, it could still buy a piece of bread, a local candy, or a jeepney ride supplement.